Hey everyone, thanks for joining our virtual fireside chat here today. Yev and I are the co-hosts of Startup Grind Boston, or co-directors of Startup Grind Boston, and excited to continue our events. We do fireside chats and panel events every month, and excited to continue with our second virtual event now. Hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. And we have Marques Ogden here. I'm excited to be he's our featured presenter today, and might be jumping on, or yeah, we're working out the video issues, but we're gonna start off just introducing him and bringing him into this chat format. Basically, the structure is going to be, it's more of a conversation throughout all this. Like, we're going to be asking him some questions about his backstory, as both an NFL player, an entrepreneur, and an author of The Success Cycle. And throughout this, anytime you guys have questions, feel free to ask them through the chat or questions features, and we'll make sure they're asked in the conversation as well. Some of you guys have bought tickets that include books, and we'll get those out. Just send us your information, and the rest of you are here for to learn from Marques and here for the chat. So just a quick overview on what Startup Grind is. We're in a startup, or the largest community for startups, reaching over 2 million entrepreneurs worldwide. Started out in Silicon Valley 10 years ago, and now there's 500 different chapters around the world that are doing events like these. So this is the Boston chapter, but now it's virtual, so you could sort of join wherever and find an event that you want to attend on startupgrind.com. And some of our hold on one second. I'm just gonna unmute Scott real quick to talk about one of our sponsors is Brex. And hey Scott, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Brex and what you guys are doing and how you can help our startup community?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope I don't even have my camera on here, but I hope you guys have heard of Brex at this point. But Brex is really thinking differently about the financial products that startups need to help grow their business. And really what we're doing is, not reinventing the wheel, but taking, traditional services, corporate cards, kind of bank products and even more, and then applying tech to it so that you can get products that are built for you as a startup, and so that you can focus on building your business instead of having these kind of legacy products that seem to be built when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth. And so that's what we do. We partner with a lot of accelerator programs and VCs all around the country, and would love to talk with you if you're interested in learning more about Brex.
Thanks. I appreciate the introduction. We have our own landing page on brex.com/startupgrind with some special, offers, and we've made with some special deals for our Startup Grind community as well. And you have just posted in the chat, with a chat box that we can all ask questions throughout this. Our other sponsor, ShipQuid. We're going to be sharing some more information shortly, but basically they can help accelerate your sales funnel and pipeline, and get you more on the path to customer success. So definitely reach out and stay tuned for more information on our upcoming newsletters. And with that, I'd like to welcome Marques up to we have a lot of areas to dive into, from your NFL career into becoming an entrepreneur with your construction company, and then going into, now you're an author and a public speaker. And I'd love to just do a quick introduction and share a little bit of your background.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jason. Really, my name is Marques Ogden. I'm from Washington, D.C. I currently live right now in Cary, North Carolina. I played in the National Football League for almost 6 years. I left the NFL, and I struggled immensely with transition. When I lost that identity of being an athlete, I wasn't sure what to do next. I stopped feeling sorry for myself about 6 months after that, and I started a construction business. I built what became the largest African American subcontracting business in the area of site work in Baltimore City in the state of Maryland for 2 years. We were at our height an 8-figure a year business. And then in 2013, because of me becoming very lazy, unambitious, and unfocused, I ended up losing the company in 2013 and filing a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And I lost everything that I owned, including my home, my cars, all of my money, everything you could think of, family, friends, dignity, was all taken away from me in about a 90-day period.
Wow. Yeah. And so did you always, you had a vision, or first off, did you always know, like, growing up, you wanted to go into the NFL, and did you have a mind for starting a business like throughout that process, or, it's sort of, how did you get in, or, did you always think of yourself as like an entrepreneur and business-minded person, or it sort of just came out of your experiences?
So I did not know what to be an NFL athlete until right before my last year of college, because when I left high school, I was 6'3". When I got to college, I became almost 6'6". So I grew about 3 inches in that summer. And I only had one scholarship offer to college, which was Howard, which is an amazing school. Loved it, played football there, it was phenomenal. But I wanted to be an investment banker. I wanted to follow my father's footsteps and work in New York, on Wall Street. That was my vision. That was my dream. And football came in, and I had a great opportunity. Played in the NFL. Was drafted out of Howard. But I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur right after my first year, when I wanted the ability to take my talents from football and make money for myself, build a nest egg, and then take that money and then go out and then start something else where I could kind of call my own shots and I could be my own leader. And I got a chance to meet some great owners of teams, like Wayne Weaver, who founded Nine West Shoe, to all these other successful entrepreneurs, Steve Bisciotti, who now owns the Ravens. So I learned a lot about business from those owners, knowing I wanted to start my own after my first year in the NFL.
Oh, great. Yeah, so how did you go about those, conversations? Like, what were you trying to learn from them when, when you were connecting with those owners, and, how did you like focus the conversation around getting the experience you needed to start a business of your own someday?
So what I did was I would always ask the owners, well, what about you makes you a successful business person? And all of them said the same thing as far as number one answer. It was the team they had around them. So I would always just want to know from them, okay, well, how do you build that team? Like, what is the integral parts of your business? Because some is retail, some was technology, some was, labor and human and selling of resources to people who wanted to kind of, find, labor help. So I needed to know from those individuals what was the key part of their business. And I would learn that from each one. Then I took that and I went into construction when I left the NFL, because I understood how to position myself with the right team to go from where I was to where I wanted to be.
That's great. And what did you learn? I guess, you're part of the team's obviously an important part of being in the NFL, and do you think any of the lessons there, or what did you learn from your NFL career that sort of transitioned over to starting your own business?
So I learned a couple things. One, I learned a lot about leadership, which is really lead by actions, not by words. A lot of people that I was around that were extremely successful in the NFL, like Ray Lewis or Ed Reed or my brother or other very phenomenal football players, all had that in common. They led by the actions that they did on the field, not just doing a whole lot of talking. So I took the same business ethics and foundation and principles from football into my construction business. And that's what I did. I didn't talk a whole lot. I just did a lot of the actions, a lot of the dirty work. I got in there. I learned my craft. I worked hard. I tried to evolve and create better systems and processes than I already had. You know, as I got older, got more wise in the business. Another thing I learned about was really allowing inclusion. Like the best teams I was on, a lot of the players and coaches had good, healthy dialogue. So if something was wrong, we would conversate with each other, try to fix it, not play the blame game, which a lot of sometimes people do in life. So I took that as another principle of allowing healthy inclusion into my construction business, which was key to having us have a huge success in the beginning. And the last thing I took from them was accountability. Like, take ownership of what you do. If you want to have success in any business as an entrepreneur, your accountability needs to be clear to your team, to your clients, and to your potential clients. Because if you don't have any accountability or any ownership of what you do in your business, don't expect to be successful, because it's going to be really hard to get people to believe that you are the right partner they should work with over someone else that's a competition of yours in your field.
And then, you know, how did you go about, I guess, was the construction company the first idea you had to start? And how did you land on that space? And how did you go about, you know, finding that team to build the business around?
So basically, that's a good question. So during the NFL, I took a course over at USC, and that course was on development and construction. I got to know a little bit about construction, a little bit about the business. And what happened was, after I retired, I met a gentleman who introduced me to my business partner, who was 41 years my elder, who had a lot of experience in construction. And we came together, formed a partnership. And the first thing we did was we went out and we hired like a president of the company, someone who had the overall experience of doing concrete, demolition, and site work. And we kind of grew from there. We had immense, massive success the first 4 years. We did everything correctly. We scaled correctly. We grew correctly. And this was a product of us having a good operational excellence in the business. We knew we had processes, we had systems, we had a structure. And as a result of that, the company ran like a well-oiled machine. The problem was the person who should have been captaining the ship and driving the ship towards better waters, I was the one that got very arrogant and complacent, and I drove us down a road to the Dead Sea because I was so mesmerized by my early success. I stopped listening to my key team members, and that was when the wheels started to fall off the ship.
So what did that look like? And I mean, it's always good to hear, or not good, you know, I wish the business was a success throughout, but you know, you don't usually hear basically entrepreneurs that say they've had, like, you know, too much of an ego, like driving the business down, then coming back and saying, you know, taking the blame for it. So yeah, I mean, I guess from your perspective, like, what went wrong there that you know, now it sounds like, you know, you sort of know, or you sort of reposition, like went into that mindset of, you know, what went wrong and how would you have changed it, you know, if you had to do it over again?
So if I had to do it over again, as we start having success in the beginning, Jason, I would have not became loud, abrasive, my way or the highway. And looking back on it today, really I was insecure, uneducated, and I was not really clear and concise on what my company's vision was. And as a result of not having that crystal clear vision and that crystal clear communication with the staff and our client base and our potential client base, I would get loud, abrasive, and I would try to draw away from my deficiencies of not being educated in my craft. And that worked. But the problem was my employees, instead of being honest with them, saying, hey, I don't know this part of the business, I don't really know estimating that well, I don't know project management that well. I don't know more about scheduling that well. Can you teach me? I would literally just try to scare and intimidate people to do what I needed to have done, because I was very poor and I was very not seasoned in how to have communication and dialogue with people, because my success drove my arrogance. And looking back on it today with my team, when we have dialogue and discussions, I welcome everyone to give their opinion. I've learned how to allow, if I don't agree with someone, how to have a healthy conversation, figure it out. I don't scream anymore. I don't yell. One of my big things is there's personality ethics and there's character ethics. So personality ethics are like anger, rage, jealousy. You're just always like, you're not confident in what you do. Then you have character ethics, like, you have a good ability to listen. You allow inclusion. You like dialogue. So today I live my life by character ethics. No longer am I driven by personality ethics, because it's not about me. It's about everyone that I work with and creating that real culture that's healthy for everybody to win in the long run.
So yeah, if you're taking that to, how you're working today and what you look for in, in whether it's a partner or an employee you bring onto the business, like, what are you looking for now in these relationships you're building?
Looking for people who are strong enough to give their opinion, but they're also wise enough to know how to have dialogue and listen. And that was my big problem when I had my company at the end. I would pretend to listen, knowing the whole time it was always going to be my way. And as an entrepreneur, you've earned the right to call your shots in your business. Absolutely. But is it really the best thing if you're paying someone a salary, a commission, some type of financial fiscal gain that goes to them, some monetary value goes to them? They also have earned the right to have dialogue, give their opinion, have a discussion. So you're going to make the decision at the end. It's your business, it's your brand. I understand that. But understand this also, 74% of employees that are in an organization that allows them to give feedback and constructive criticism are much more likely to stay with that organization, even if they get a small pay raise. So you have to learn how to bend, yet not break. And a lot of entrepreneurs sometimes say, well, I don't want to give away up my business. I don't want to give up control. Well, it's not about control. It's about what's best for the business. What's the right solution? Don't look at it as power. You control this, you pay them. And that's why, again, it goes back to personality ethics, rage, jealousy, wanting to be the one that does everything and makes it your way. In business, there is no your way or their way. It's just what's the right way? What's the best way? So I look for people that are allowed to have dialogue, Jason, but aren't looking to just always succumb to what I want, because I want people to actually have an opinion and we work things out if we don't agree on something all the time.
That makes a lot of sense. And yeah, even so you had mentioned, early on you were looking to NFL owners and their successful businesses as either advisors or mentors, like shaping your path to starting your business. So, is that still the case, or who do you turn to now for outside advice and inspiration for your companies?
Great question. I have a group that's called NAPSA. It was an organization that they did work at Penn State College. I went to that. They were working with the NFLPA, Retired Players Association. And my mentor is a guy named Brad Mitchell, who has a little bit of background in sports, but a lot in business. And Brad taught me a lot about how to be accountable to myself, how to talk better verbiage, how to have sharper, crisper content, how to really speak to people and make them understand that you're talking with them, not at them. So Brad has been a huge inspiration to me. And then one of my mentors is a guy named Andre Collins, who played in the NFL. He went to Penn State. played for the Redskins, was an outside linebacker. Andre was the one that inspired me to actually move forward to going to NAPS's program at Penn State back in 2018. I really didn't want to go, Jason. I was like, well, I wasn't the same person as I was before with Kayden, but I thought I knew a lot. Like, well, I'm doing okay, I'm fine. He said, Mark, you're doing okay, you're doing fine. But do you want to do great? Do you want to elevate? If you want to elevate, go to the program. If you want to just stay average and just get by, just keep doing what you're doing and don't go for any guidance or any help. And as an entrepreneur, we have to make a decision. Do we want to actually take a chance to elevate that we're not sure it's going to work or not? Or we just want to stay in our comfort zone and to stay where we are and not progress? That was a hard choice for me. And I made the decision to make the investment to go to Penn State. I took Andre's word, I listened to him and his guidance, and it was probably, Jason, the best thing I ever did, because that investment has paid easily 100-fold in the last 2 years.
Great. Yeah, I mean, it's important to just keep on, to continue that learning and, like, even if, or yeah, continue to learn new things and be out there finding, resources that can help you personally, as a business and as an entrepreneur there. So I guess, you wrote a after this experience, or was it right after the construction business that you set out to write this book, the Success Cycle, or what was the process, that an inspiration behind putting your experiences to date into the book, and what are you hoping that readers get out of the Success Cycle?
So after I lost the business, I wrote my first book. I started in 2014, called Sleepless Nights, which was my autobiography. That got released in 2015. Then in 2018, we got connected to a publisher out of the New York area, and we wrote our second book, The Success Cycle, which is now online in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and it's also in Barnes & Noble's bookstores all across the country. And that book talks about three major things, Jason: ambition, drive, and hard work. It talks about how if you are ambitious enough to set goals for yourself, if you're driven enough to be inspired to make a real change over a short, locomotive type of a movement, and if you're hardworking to focus on yourself and not the competition, you can have success in anything you do in life. It worked for me in football, worked for me in construction. It's working now for us with speaking and coaching and as an entrepreneur. So it's really designed to help you get from where you are to where you want to be.
Oh, that's great. So, and then I guess, what do you consider this cycle, or the cycle of success? Like, where did the name come from, and what are some of the steps that entrepreneurs have to take?
So we came up with the Success Cycle because it was a natural fit to a lot of people. Everybody wants to have success. Success is in the eye of the beholder. It could be more time with your family, it could be more money, it could be more travel. So it's really a universal word. But the cycle process is step one is ambition, step two is drive, step three is hard work. So under ambition, you have to create a roadmap. You have to figure out, okay, where am I right now in my journey? Where do I want to get to? And what are the things I need to do from a tactical perspective to get from A to Z and beyond? So you have to, first of all, identify your goals. You have to write down what your strengths are, and then you need to fill the things that you're not good at and delegate those to other people to help you achieve success in that light. The next part is going to be drive, and that's when you have to really be inspired, and you do that by focusing on your why. Why did you start the business that you're doing? Is it because you want to take care of your family? It's because you've seen something as a younger person that makes you say, I don't want to end up a certain way. You have to figure out what your why is, because your why is going to drive you past all the no's that you're going to be receiving in the beginning. I was told no, Jason, on every speaking job I went after that was a paid job for 2.5 years. 30 straight months of no on every job I pursued. So I had to have that why, which was to take care of my family. And I saw my father, who was a very successful person when I was younger, who passed away in his mid-50s, pretty much fiscally broke. All his money was gone. He died a very poor man. And that was my why. That is my why. I don't want to put my family through that situation. So I want to always keep working to give my daughters and my wife and my team the best life possible. And then hard work comes down to creating for yourself a structure that's like a 95-hour work week. As an entrepreneur, if you work a 9-to-5 job and that's it, don't expect to have a high level of success, because that's just the working hours of what people do who are employees, not employers. So I started thinking about, okay, well, I'm going to do this job as a custodian, as a football coach, as I did birthday parties and played football with kids for an hour. I worked hard, but then I would also create a structure for myself to work on my craft at night, which was going to be social media or emailing people, trying to get out in front of people for speaking. It's about creating a structure for yourself so you're always working hard and smart at the same time. So it's really about creating goals for yourself, creating your roadmap. It's about being driven to push past all the no's, having a clear crystal why. And it's about how do you structure your time to take care of your responsibilities and do your job, and then how do you pursue your career and your vision after hours, and that's all part of the hard work of how to get to where you want to be.
Yeah, so how do you, as you're managing all these, or like you mentioned, it's not just the 9-to-5, it's structuring, what?
It's a 95, like 95 hours a week, not 9-to-5. It's like 95 hours a week.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah. That's sort of where I was going with this, is like, you're managing like more traditional jobs with your, your passion and entrepreneurial business, and, still taking care of like your family, everything else. Like, how do you manage, where to allocate your time and what needs to be sort of the focus for the next week ahead?
So what I always would do was I would always lay out on a Sunday what I was going to do for that upcoming week. So this way I could execute what needed to be done to take care of the bills, to keep things moving in the house. And I would always allocate my time according to what needed to be done. And I would put things into categories: red light, yellow light, green light. So if something was a red light, very urgent, I made sure to get that done that at the time it needed to be done. If it was something that was more like a yellow light where I needed to do it, but I had a little time to like put it off slightly, I would put into that category. If it was a green light, I knew I need to get it done, but it needed to be done right away, I would put it into that bucket. And that helped keep me on track, because if you don't learn how to decipher what's urgent, what's kind of important but not urgent, or what needs to be done but can be put off a little bit, you're going to always continue to be distracted. And as an entrepreneur, distraction is our #1 nemesis. Because if we keep getting distracted and keep getting knocked off course, what's going to happen is we're not going to achieve the task that we need to get the results that we desire. So I found that to be very advantageous for me as I was trying to scale up in the business, but I didn't have a team around me at that time.
Right. So just a quick note, like, yeah, again, if anybody has questions throughout this, you can put it in the chat, and yeah, we'll start taking some of those, questions here shortly as well. Just, yeah, going off of what you just said, so basically, have you had, something, any ideas and inspiration that, maybe you didn't think it was a priority at the beginning, but led to the next, or something, that is more of your focus now? Or, how do you go about, deciding if like maybe a task you don't think is, has 100% chance of being successful is like one to move into that and one to try something new?
So what I tell people is this, is in order to be able to spin off, that you're talking about creating a spin-off opportunity, you have to
Right.
get crystal clear in your lane. So for me, my primary lane is speaking. So I know that what's going to push our business down the right path is going to be speaking, virtual conferences, summits, fireside chats, all those type of things. If I don't have that done crystal clear, moving in the right direction, then trying to spin off into coaching or to writing a book or to being a brand ambassador, all that's going to be not pretty much successful. So what I tell people all the time is, if you want to try to spin off into other opportunities, you need to get crystal clear in what you're doing now and make that your priority. And then as you are starting to make fiscal gain in that area and you're seeing some sort of success, either you have a lot of clients that are validating your work, you have people who are beating your door down, and you're seeing the phone lines and emails getting busier and busier with people wanting your services, then at that time you can start to look at other opportunities that might be a good fit for you or not. If you try to get something into something too early, you risk the fact that you might get into something and it might not go well. And that happened to me. Like, I was speaking, and I started speaking in 2013. And I remember this like it was yesterday. 2016, Jason, I got my first paid job, and I was like, man, I'm gonna spin off right now and try to get into coaching. And
Right.
I put it out there. I got one client to sign up for pretty much nothing. And after 2 calls, that client ended up asking me for a refund. They were not happy with the services. And I look at that today. I tried to spin off into something too quickly without having real stability in my lane of speaking. And I tell people all the time, having different avenues is fantastic, but you better be sure that what you're spinning off into, you have some viable credit and some viable social proof that makes you an expert, or at least a thought leader to individuals as you're trying to spin off into other work. So today, I've worked with probably about 80 coaching clients in the last 2 years. I relaunched my coaching business in 2018, and as a result of having more success in speaking, I had more social proof. I showed people I could do what I said I could do, and that's how I spun off into something that was very successful. Anything with brand ambassador, all those kind of things. So again, I tell people all the time, if you want to spin off into something, that's fine, but be sure that you have expertise in that primary lane. And then at that time, you should look at other opportunities depending upon what you want to do.
Yeah, and I've heard even talking with other speakers and like professional speakers, even within that category, if there's a conference on something that's not in your lane, maybe you won't take that engagement, or I guess maybe you'll try to position it into a topic you want to talk about and is in your lane. Is that do you sort of have the same mentality there?
So what I did in the beginning, if it wasn't in my wheelhouse, I would still take it, knowing that I was just trying to get experience to learn how to be able to get into that lane or to that opportunity, that industry down the line. Today, because I've done a lot of speaking, a lot of opportunities, a lot of jobs, I know, because I'm getting paid money now, if I can't do something, I'm not going to do it, because I don't want to disservice a client and give them something or a product that's not quality that they're not happy with. So I've learned today how to decipher what you need to do something because you are trying to build credibility. And when you get to the point where you have credibility, don't take on a job you can't service properly, because a negative, blackball review can do a lot of damage to somebody that's trying to continue to grow and scale their business. So be very wise when you do that.
And then what types of talking about you relaunched the coaching aspect. What types of clients are you working with, and what areas of focus are you bringing to helping them with their success?
So I work with a lot with entrepreneurs and mid-level managers or C-level executives. We really focus on strategic planning and tactical planning and execution. Like, what is your long-term goal? If you're somebody who wants to be a speaker, where are you now? Where are you trying to get to? I have clients that are real estate investors. Okay, what's your portfolio looks like now? Where do you want to get to? I have technology entrepreneur clients. I have people that are in, that are in restaurants. I'm all about helping people who are at a certain point in their career and they just want to advance and they don't know how. So I've been very fortunate to spread across multiple industries because I have experience in like construction, real estate, retail, financial planning. I've done some work in insurance. Because of my background in multiple industries, I'm looking just to help people, again, entrepreneurs, to manage mid-level managers and above, C-level executives that are just maybe in their journey a little bit stuck, and they just need to figure out some different ways to move forward with what they're trying to accomplish.
Right. Yeah, so with some of those, I guess, what are some of, I guess without it going into like anything confidential from your clients, but like, what are some of the biggest learning experiences?
That's a good question. So I had a client that was in real estate investing that really struggled, Jason, with how to position themselves on social media to get more attention of the right type of investors to invest in his company. So we talked about, okay, well, what is your value? What is your mission? What is your core? And we talked about this, and he learned how to put out caption writing and or either videos or visual images where he could talk about his life, his story, and share some things he's gone through and had to overcome. And that helped a lot of investors who had gone through those similar processes want to connect with him, and then they start to invest with him. I had another client who was a former NFL athlete who wanted to be a speaker, and he struggled with how to use his experiences and his story to move forward and share with people without them feeling sorry for him. So we went through some tactical steps of how to put together a presentation and make it so it was very entertaining, enlightening, and educating to help him get more people's attention, which he's now doing. He's doing a lot more paid engagements. I've had clients who are people that are in technology that were struggling with how to create more avenues of marketing for their business. So we kind of went through how are they marketing, what are they working on? And a lot of them weren't utilizing email marketing, or they weren't utilizing social media marketing. So we kind of went through some strategies on how to start creating tactical steps to get from where they are to where they want to be by utilizing social media marketing and more email marketing. I've had realtors who have a great business but don't have any CRM tools that they needed to learn how to put together to be able to grow their database. So I've seen all kinds of things, man. I've been from people who just are good people with good businesses, but they just are missing a couple of those tactical things or some marketing things or some strategic planning things to help them scale their business. And that's where I come and give them a fresh set of eyes. We look at their business and we find ways to plug those gaps to help them become more successful with their craft.
Yeah, it sounds like a much needed service, and especially, you mentioned, a couple of your clients as well had been in similar situations. Like, I imagine it's always especially helpful for what you mentioned, like the NFL players that are trying to get out there now and tell their story, and you've already been there through that process. And even we did a webinar and then an in-person event with about like leveraging PR and press, and that's more of a written story, but with this, you're trying to tell your story to an audience. So I guess how do you go about sort of putting your, or basically, you know, capturing the attention of these events, conferences, other events, and get them excited about what either you or your clients are bringing to the table?
So the number one thing, let me go back. There's three things that people want in speakers. This is going to be one, excellent stage presence, two, audience engagement, three, educating their audience. So we know through our planning and our tactical strategy that these are things that catch the attention of meeting planners, coordinators. So what we do is in our email marketing, we're not pitching hire us. We're pitching value around these topics where we work for like Axe Advisors or Home Depot or, PNC Bank, the NFL. We kind of highlight some people that we've worked with and we tell them how we've been able to help these organizations and have been able to have good presence to help them learn from us. We educate their audience. We really captivate them with our words. So we've learned how to position ourselves through email marketing, social media caption writing, creation of video content, picture images. We know what people like. That goes back to situational clarity and awareness. Whatever business you're in, every business is driven by human people, by human capital. So it's all about pattern recognition. What do the people you're trying to get in front of, what do they like? Are they sports fans? Are they technology people? Are they family people? Do they have kids? What is their pattern? And then you create different scenarios to get in front of them so you have a good way of things are going good, going okay, or not going so well. So you're always prepared. And then you need to understand what the competition's doing in your market so you can always stay one step ahead. So for us, we really worked hard on putting out a lot of content that's value driven. We're not selling our services. We're not pitching you. We're not saying buy us or we're the best. What we're trying to do is let you see from our content, we're about value and about sharing our story and more importantly, my failures so you don't make my mistakes. My clients tell me all the time, Marcus, it's great having you because you have failed. And I have gone through a COVID type situation, not the whole global pandemic, but I lost everything, Jason and Yev, in 90 days. So when you lose everything in 90 days, it's very quick. It's it's a blitz. And when I lost everything and my money was gone, and my house was gone, and our cars were gone, I looked up and I was like, wow, all this just happened to me in just 3 months. A lot of people are going through the same thing with COVID. So I tell people all the time, if you're going to hire a coach, a mentor, whatever you want to call it, you need to be sure they've gone through some type of struggle. Because they haven't gone through some type of struggle, but then you struggle, how can they really help you with valuable life experience if they have not gone through a struggle they had to get out of? So that's kind of what we do. And that's kind of how we catch people's attention is we find out what drives them or what they want out of their potential hires. And we put out content that's authentic, that's sharing value, not trying to sell ourselves to people like a lot of people do right now, especially in the COVID-19 crisis.
Right. And yeah, this actually ties that into one of the audience questions. Luke was asking, what strategies have you found most successful while building your brand recognition, and how has it changed over time as you've grown?
So the strategy we used to use first, we did a lot of face-to-face networking in the beginning because I didn't have a team. I was very weak at social media. I was very inept with email marketing. So I would go to like chamber events or networking events. And I would meet people. I would get out there and say, hey, my name is Marcus. How you doing? This is what I'm up to. Tell me about you. That was what drove us in the beginning. Probably around 2018, when I met my business partner, Dawn, we got more into the shift and we shifted more towards social media marketing, getting into telling a story, sharing our experiences, sharing our faults, sharing our success, what's worked, what hasn't worked. As a result of that, people started to engage us more, not just from our local community, but from all across the globe and even sometimes internationally. And then we started to do the next step of adding email marketing as a strategy, because we figured out how to use MailChimp. We figured out how to send out once a month powerful newsletters that are short, 2 paragraphs max. And we use those as a way to get people to see that we're different and unique, and we're not pitching a product, we're giving you value that you can utilize in your business, no matter who you are. So we start out with face-to-face networking. That was okay, but then it started to kind of die off. It got saturated. Then we then advanced to social media marketing, and that started to do well. Then we started to gather people's information, emails, database, data. Then we started to do email marketing, which now we're doing all 3, but we understand now how to hit all 3, but just do it in a process, so we're not basically saturating ourselves with just one type of strategy to grow the business.
No, yeah, and then it sounds like throughout this process you've received a lot of growth in terms of your brand recognition and even the way you're reaching customers and building up, like you mentioned, building up that newsletter with just people that can come once a month, get your updates and like stay in tune with the brand. Has there been any instances of like negative feedback on social media or other channels you had to deal with, and what was the the process of going through that?
Oh yeah, when we started social media back in 2017, 18, I did get some negative feedback because we were all about selling. We were all about, well, buy my product, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It was very self-centered. And I will never forget this, Jason. I got hired to a speaking job in 2019 by a lady named Laura out in Madison, Wisconsin. She said, Marques, I've been following you since 2017. And pretty much for about all of 2018, you were very self-centered in your content. You were always about you, what you're doing, how you're doing. That's all you were about. She said, right around the beginning of 2019, I saw a shift. I saw you start talking about the clients you're servicing, the value you're adding. You were not out there telling so much about what you're doing. You weren't pounding your chest saying, look at me. You were saying, look who I've helped. And this is what I'm doing. And how can I help you? And she said, I watched you for about 6 months. And then she ended up calling me, I think it was like around September of last year. And she hired me to speak for her company in November of last year in Madison, Wisconsin. And I'll never forget that, Jason. It was the best piece of feedback I ever got, because it was nice to know that someone who had been watching us for so long had made that assessment that we were one way the year prior, but we had growth and advancement to show that we weren't all about ourselves. We were about helping our client base. So absolutely, and as an entrepreneur, if you're not open to constructive criticism and feedback, you're gonna not grow to your full potential, because we're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna do things wrong. We're gonna make errors, but can we learn from those mistakes? Can we learn from those errors? Like I said, my pivotal moment, Jason, was when I was a custodian. Somebody's trash got on my bare skin at 4:30 in the morning on my shift. And that was the moment I said, all right, I can either keep blaming people for my errors and my faults, or I can take responsibility, accountability, and say, Marques, you messed up. You got into a job with the wrong people. You didn't cover your butt. You made the mistake, nobody else. So that was where I said, okay, I've got to start having a self-reflection moment. As an entrepreneur, you're going to have those self-reflection moments where someone gives you some advice or some feedback. It's your choice to utilize it or throw it in the trash. It's up to you. But don't be upset if you don't grow or scale because people's giving you good feedback. that you're throwing in the trash because you're so proud or you're so ego driven. You can't allow others to give you advice or feedback to help you in your quest to have success as an entrepreneur.
And then, no, that's definitely great advice. And yeah, you got to keep, no, like you mentioned, yeah, find out, and this ties into what you mentioned earlier, like find out what drives you to the success, and make sure you're, yeah, doing everything you can to, yeah, push yourself forward and go to that level. And yeah, let's see, just looking at an audience question right now, from Nathaniel. Basically, he said every coach also needs a coach like this. And it's one of your clients that's been working with you for 10 months and has challenged you on every level. Accountability is everything. So he's loving this. Yeah, great to see support from your community here as well. And yeah, so I guess, so how are, yeah, you're saying like, accountability is one of the key values that you bring to your clients, and, sounds like you're giving them goals to work towards too, and, sort of the steps they can take short and long term to get there.
Oh, absolutely. Every client that I work with, it's all about in this format. We have our first call where I find about you, your goals, your aspirations, where you want to go. Then after that, we'll have a structured, customized program to fit you. You'll have an email after every call with the updates of what's going on in your life for that week or that bi-weekly. We'll go over your goals, the things you need to achieve or accomplish before our next call. We'll have our new call content. Then you'll get a next homework for that call, and you'll get a next call agenda. And I email out to every client after every call to stay on track. Everyone loves that because it's an accountability structure. As an entrepreneur, if no one is challenging you to be your best, either a coworker, a business partner, a family member, if no one's challenging you to be your best, it's so easy to fall back into the pattern of not pushing forward. Because look at COVID right now. So many people are just not pushing forward because, well, my business is shut down. I can't get to work. I understand all that. And again, I've been through this where I lost everything, so I get it. But we still need to get up, move forward as entrepreneurs, because we are the chosen ones that said, we're going to take a chance to start a business. We're going to take a chance to call our own shots. So we can't allow any type of outside circumstances to throw us off track fully. Can we get a little bit discouraged, have a bad day? Absolutely we can. But we can't allow something, an outside influence, to knock us off course. If we do that, we risk putting ourselves in a situation where we cannot achieve the goal that we set out to do. And that's happens to a lot of people. It's that this situation is going to help people who have strong foundation and a strong principle of what they're going to do. It's going to help them push forward. People that don't have a strong foundation or a strong principle of their business and how to push through and have processes to go through these situations, unfortunately, aren't going to do very well. So make a choice. You can either have a good system and process to push through all the adversity, or you can allow the adversity to take over and to start making excuses. And I've been there. I've been the guy, my partner's fault. I would drink a lot of alcohol, all that, all this stuff. My employees, the contractor, the developer, everybody's fault but mine. But here's the thing: blaming people does nothing. Doesn't take you anywhere. So you might as well own your life. You make a mistake, own it, fix it, move on. Don't dwell. Don't pass the buck. Don't shift blame. Look at yourself in the mirror. I make a mistake. I gotta fix this. I gotta push forward. And I gotta go for mine. That's why I tell all my clients, I tell people I talk to in audiences, don't wait for a knight in shining armor. You be the knight, go find a horse, get your ass up on it, and you go and drive towards your destiny, and you go from there.
Right. That's great advice. I'm gonna have, or I guess, yeah, we're coming up on the hour here. Yeah, I'm gonna have one more question after this first, just, as an ex-NFL player, any insights into the draft tonight?
For who? Which team?
Whatever.
Who's your?
I mean,
Oh,
my team's the
I think
MVP, but
I think it's going to be Joe Burrow will be number one to the Bengals for sure. Probably I forgot who the number two pick is, and I think Toga Beatles can go to the Dolphins. I think they're going to draft a quarterback. They're going to have him back up Fitzpatrick or have him take over this year.
yeah.
I think the Redskins are going to draft Chase Young out of Ohio State. They need a good pass rusher. The Giants are going to probably take either a wide receiver or offensive tackle. And then I say, yeah, the Dolphins are number 5. Are going to take Tugabila. So I think it's going to be like quarterback, DN, corner to Detroit, either wide receiver or tackle to the Giants. And then I think it's going to be a quarterback to the Dolphins. That's my projections for the top 5 picks of this year's draft.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll see I'll check where it turns out. And then, just want to wrap up on a lot of our audiences, entrepreneurs, could be, or we have some diversity in where they are and what their company is doing, but a lot of early stage founders, what do you, if they can do one thing today, while they're at home for, during all of this, what should they be focused on in terms of building their brand or building their either personal or company brand and getting themselves out there?
So what they need to do is they need to create a sales process, which is this 5-step process. Number 1, identify crystally and clearly your target audience or client base. Number 2, connect with them authentically, either through social media, email marketing, referrals, or your inner circle. Number 3, listen to those potential clients genuinely. What do they need? What are the things that they struggle with? How can you help them? Get to hear them and don't try to respond right away. Do more listening and more data gathering and analyzation so that you can do step 4, create real value for them with what you're saying. And give them some things that your competitors aren't doing and let them know that you're someone they can count on and will be their partner, not their vendor. And number 5, create a diligent follow-up system. So many entrepreneurs forget to follow up consistently or diligently because, I don't want to bother the person. They're going to call me. If you're trying to grow a business, you need to have a diligent system to follow up with people and make sure that you're at their top of mind. Don't bug them, but be at their top of mind with a consistent, diligent follow-up system. So create that 5-step process. Identify your target audience and or client base, connect with them authentically, listen genuinely, create real value, and then have a diligent follow-up system that you can execute to stay on top of their mind and in front of them in a healthy manner.
That's incredible advice, and I think we should all take some lessons from that, and go out and continue to not just reach out and grow our business that way, but also build these relationships and continue to follow up with potential prospects, and also just build a community around yourself. This has been incredible fireside chat with you. Glad we got to bring you in here, even through the current situation, and thanks to all of our audience today for joining in. This is also part of, just want to mention, it's also part of the AWS Mentorship Month through Startup Grind. Everyone that's attending here is going to get some more information through our newsletter as well. But basically, AWS has special promotions with cloud credits they're giving, as well as introductions to mentors for particular industry segments that you can apply for through Startup Grind now. And we'll be continuing on with our events. We have another event coming up May 7th. We'll also be doing more. We started a community spotlight series. We're highlighting some startups in the Boston community and doing live streams with well to sort of share their story and let everybody know about the amazing companies we have out here. So yeah, Marques, thank you for chatting with us today, and I definitely learned a lot, and I think our audience did as well.
Well, thanks a lot, Jason. Yeah, I appreciate it. And just remember, everybody has a product or service, but the ones who have success are the ones that have these three main things. They excel at customer service, they have a quality product with great satisfaction to their client base, and they have good operational excellence. If you can have those three things in any business that you can have great success. If one of those is not doing well, then fix it so you can have great success. Again, great customer service, great quality product with great satisfaction for your client base, and operational excellence to help people know that they can count on you no matter what, even through the COVID-19 global crisis.
Perfect. And yeah, we can count on you. No, this has been great. And yeah, again, we'll be sending out a follow-up if any of you guys want to be connected, with Marcus's agency or any other of our sponsors and partners. We partner up with development groups like Zyk 9 Series, consulting firm Prepare for VC, and other. Kraus is our media partner on that does all of our videos for our in-person events. So anything you guys are looking for, happy to connect with Yev or I, and we can make introductions to help you guys out. So yeah, thanks for joining, and stay safe, everyone.
Sweet.